Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raubawale from College of Engineering Ambazugai is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 1. This is our 37th lecture. In previous lecture we discussed about numericals on steam flow through nozzle. Today we are going to start with a new topic known as condenser. So today we will have the introduction to condenser, what a condenser is and why there is a need to use condenser. What are the advantages of using condenser? We are going to discuss about classifications of steam condenser, then comparison of jet condenser with surface condenser. This is the brief outline of today's lecture. So now, before moving to this condenser, let us see what is absolute pressure, what is atmospheric pressure, and what is gauge pressure, what is vacuum pressure. Already you are aware of the pressure measurements. Now let us see the device which is known as a barometer, which is used to measure atmospheric pressure. So this is a tube, inverted tube, which is immersed into the mercury bath, and here vacuum is produced at the end. So as vacuum is created, this mercury level starts to rise in this tube. So this mercury level rises up to a certain level and it stops. So when we create a perfect vacuum, at that perfect vacuum, this level of mercury rises up to a certain level because the atmospheric air exerts pressure on the surface of mercury, and this mercury is forced into this tube because of atmospheric uh, pressure. So this air exerts pressure on this mercury, and so this mercury enters into the tube as we have created here vacuum. Indirectly we say that mercury is sucked into this tube. So this is nothing but when the self weight of this mercury is equal to the atmospheric pressure. In other words, we call this as pressure rho gh. Rho gh, where rho is the density of mercury, g is acceleration due to gravity, and h is the height of mercury. When this pressure exerted by the column of mercury becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure, then rise of this mercury in this tube gets stopped. So this is called as the atmospheric pressure. Now this atmospheric pressure is represented on this graph here. This is the atmospheric pressure line. So this is the atmospheric pressure line. So here you can see this is the atmospheric pressure line. Now let us consider another example here. Similar tube is present here, and this tube is connected to the condenser sensor. So this condenser is also having vacuum, but this vacuum is not a perfect vacuum, because of which this atmospheric air pressurizes this mercury to rise in this tube to a certain level, not up to the level in a barometric tube. So this level difference which we are going to see is because this pressure which is applied to this tube is not a perfect vacuum. There is a deficiency in the perfect vacuum. That's why it enters into a tube up to a certain level. So the level of mercury which arises into this tube is nothing but the extent of vacuum. So vacuum which is created in this condenser is represented by a rise of mercury level in this tube. So the distance between this ambient pressure to the level of mercury in the second tube is known as absolute pressure. So this is with respect to the zero pressure. So when we are creating zero pressure here, so the level of mercury is going to rise up to this. So the pressure measured with respect to the absolute zero is known as absolute pressure. So here, so pressure measured from absolute zero to this point is known as absolute pressure, but the pressure which is measured below atmospheric pressure is known as a vacuum pressure. So this is below atmospheric pressure, vacuum pressure in this tube, and the pressure which is measured above atmospheric pressure is known as a positive gauge pressure. So positive gauge pressure, or simply sometimes we call this as a gauge pressure, and negative gauge pressure is nothing but vacuum. So this vacuum is below atmospheric pressure, and vacuum is below atmospheric pressure, and gauge pressure is above atmospheric pressure. But the pressure measured with respect to the zero reference above this is absolute pressure. Again, this atmospheric pressure itself is also absolute pressure, and this total pressure is also a absolute pressure. So atmospheric pressure plus the plus gauge pressure or minus vacuum pressure gives us absolute pressure. So why vacuum is created in this condenser? That is the major question. So here, say for example, this is the condenser or some vessel which contains steam in it. Now assume that this steam is occupying complete volume in this vessel. So this is having some volume V. Volume of vessel is equal to volume of steam. Now if we keep this vessel into the cold water and we allow this steam to condense, so what will happen here? This steam gets condensed and gets converted into the water. So it occupies very small space. Now this vessel is closed, sealed, no other substance is allowed to enter. So automatically what happens, as soon as this water gets condensed, it occupies very small volume, where volume of this vessel and volume of water, if we compare, is not equal. That is, volume of vessel is very large than the volume of water. So rest of the portion which is going to remain in this vessel is nothing, that is vacant. Vacant space is nothing but a vacuum. So this is the reason why a vacuum is created in the condenser. So the specific volume or complete volume of this steam gets converted into water. So this water occupies very small space compared to the steam. Now this remaining space in this vessel gets vacated, and that is nothing but the pressure inside this vessel gets automatically reduced, and due to that reduced pressure, which is less than the atmospheric air, if we create a hole in this, suddenly this atmospheric air enters into it. Why? Because the pressure of atmosphere is higher than the pressure in the vessel, as the steam is condensed and remaining space is vacant. Therefore the atmospheric air enters into this vessel. So this is the reason why vacuum is created in the condenser. And what are the advantages of this vacuum that we see, or what are the advantages of using condenser that we will be looking at into the next slide. So now, what is a steam condenser? A steam condenser is a device which condenses steam, in the sense converts the steam into liquid, changes its phase. Now second thing is, it releases heat absorbed by water. So how we are going to generate steam? The water is heated and then converted into steam. So the steam contains some amount of heat energy, and that heat energy is released in this condenser. A condenser is a device which condenses steam or releases heat absorbed by steam to the cooling water. Then provides very low back pressure on exhaust. Low back pressure means, just now I have explained that it creates the vacuum, as the steam gets converted into water and it accumulates, or it occupies very low space, and rest of the space is vacant, and that is nothing but vacuum. So as there is a vacuum, the exhaust pressure or back pressure of turbine is going to reduce. So what is the advantage of this back pressure that we will be looking at? Then third, allows steam to expand to greater extent. So if steam is coming into this condenser from a turbine, say this is the turbine, when steam enters into this turbine producing work, and when it is exhausted, so this back pressure is low, means expansion, level of expansion from pressure P1 to P2 is more. So because this pressure is very low, it is even below this atmospheric pressure. So expansion of steam can be made to the larger extent. Say for example, P1 is the inlet pressure, P2 is the atmospheric, PA is the atmospheric pressure, and P2 is the vacuum pressure. So instead of expanding it up to atmospheric pressure, the steam is expanded to the pressure P2, which is equal to the condenser pressure. P2 is condenser pressure. So here the steam is expanded from the inlet pressure P1 to directly exit pressure or exhaust pressure P2, which is equal to the condenser pressure, and allows expansion to the greater extent. Next one, supplies pure and hot water. So this condensate which is collected into the condenser is a pure water, and that pure water is recirculated as a feed water to the boiler. So pure water, if we supply to the boiler, so that contains no salt particles or no other sediments, and because of that life of boiler will increase, or the system life will increase, or there will be minimum corrosion. So the cost of pure water is very high. Therefore, if we recirculate this pure water which is produced in this condenser or collected in this condenser, will be beneficial to us to use it as a feed water. And another benefit of this condenser that we see is the efficiency of plant increases. Why efficiency increases? So same amount of steam is expanded. Say for example 1 kg per second steam is passing, and if without condenser it produces W1 amount of work, and if we are using condenser it produces W2 amount of work. So due to the larger expansion, W2 is greater than W1. That means same quantity of steam is used to produce W2 amount of work, that is work done is greater than without condenser. So this difference of work is nothing but the work output is going to increase, and this work output, increase in work output, is responsible to increase the efficiency of plant. Next one, we can see enthalpy drop increases. Say for example steam enters at enthalpy H1 and it comes out at enthalpy H2 if we do not use condenser. So for example it enters at 100 kilojoules per kg and it comes out at 50 kilojoules per kg, and if we are using condenser then it comes out at H2 dash, and that is say for example 25 kilojoules per kg. That is nothing but, in first case difference is 100 minus 50, difference is of 50 kilojoules. This 50 kilojoules per kg of energy is converted into useful work. In second case 100 minus 25, the difference is 75 kilojoules per kg. So 75 kilojoules of heat energy is converted into useful work. So enthalpy drop increases. So this delta H is going to increase. Next one, temperature of condensate is always higher. So the condensate which is collected into this condenser at the bottom of condenser, this temperature of condensate is higher, and this directly can be supplied to the boiler, so that we need not to heat the feed water which is supplied to the boiler. So there also we can save the fuel burned in order to increase the temperature of feed water. So here temperature of condensate is always higher, and that is beneficial for us to supply it as a feed water to the boiler. So this condensate can be directly supplied to the boiler as temperature of this condensate is larger. That reduces the requirement of heat supply to the boiler. Then heat supply to the boiler per kg of steam is reduced, because this feed water is at higher temperature and therefore heat required is less. Then reuse of condensers reduces cost of power generation. Why the cost of power generation is reduced? Because we need less fuel to be burned, so that this condensate can be directly used. Another thing is, if we are using the condensate, reusing condensate, that is nothing but it increases life of plant, or maintenance cost gets reduced. So that is why the power generation cost is going to reduce. The formation of deposits in the boiler is avoided. As pure water is supplied, it contains no foreign particles of salt content. Therefore, the deposition of salt or scale formation gets reduced or it is avoided by the use of condensate. Reuse of condensate avoids the deposition or salt deposition or scale formation in the boiler. So these are the advantages of using steam condenser. Now what happens here, if we are not using a condenser, then steam is expanded from 2 to 3 and it is exhausted up to atmospheric pressure P4. So this gives us a PV diagram. So this PV diagram gives us the work done in case of non-condensing plant. Non-condensing plant in the sense if there is no condenser. Now if we are using a condenser, so here this there is an increase in the expansion. So this pressure, say this is atmospheric pressure. Now if we are using condenser, the vacuum is created, and because of vacuum we can increase this expansion to the greater extent. So this additional area shows us that the work done because of condenser. So this is the additional work done by turbine or engine when we are providing a condenser at the back end. So that's why the back pressure gets reduced, and because of reduction in back pressure the steam is expanded to the greater extent, and this helps us to extract more work. So work done by the turbine or steam engine, if we provide the condenser, then the work done is larger as compared with the without condenser. Therefore condenser is beneficial to us in order to increase efficiency, as we are going to say efficiency is equal to work done divided by heat supplied. So in order to increase efficiency we have to do one thing, we have to increase this work or we have to reduce heat supplied. So here work done, if we are using same amount of heat supplied, then more work is done, therefore automatically efficiency increases. So in order to increase efficiency, either we have to increase numerator or we have to reduce denominator. So here work done is increased because of this condenser, as well as heat supplied is also reduced because the feed water is supplied at higher temperature, therefore the heat supplied into the boiler is going to get reduced. So that is nothing but heat supplied is reduced and work done is increased. So there is nothing but the simultaneous increase in the work done and reduction in the heat supply helps us to increase the efficiency of a boiler plant. Now the condensers are classified in various categories. So broadly condensers are classified in two categories. First one is jet condenser, another is surface condenser. So two broad classifications are made. So jet condenser is one where water and steam are going to mix directly with each other. In case of surface condenser, water and steam are not going to mix with each other. There is a barrier between steam and uh, cooling water. So here, say for example, this is the condenser cell. So in one compartment, say there is a water, in another compartment there is a steam. So steam and water are not going to mix with each other. But in jet condenser, both are allowed to pass into the same vessel and those are going to mix with each other. So this is nothing but a jet condenser. So in surface condenser, there is a barrier in the sense there is not a layer. So there are a number of tubes through which steam is passed and water is circulated around it, or steam is surrounded to the tube and water is passed through the cooling water is passed through the tube. Say for example, this is the condenser cell. So there are a number of tubes through which water is circulated and around these tubes steam is circulated. So steam heat from steam is absorbed by water, passed through the tubes and gets condensed, and that condensate is collected from its water. Now this jet condenser is classified in three categories. First one is parallel flow, then second one is counter flow, and third one is ejector type. Parallel flow in the sense both fluids, that is steam and cooling water, flow in the same direction. In counter flow condenser, both are flowing in opposite direction. So steam flows in one direction, water flows in other direction, in opposite direction. Ejector is nothing but the steam is sucked because of pressure difference, and that pressure difference is created by passing steam through the nozzle. Then this parallel flow is again classified as a low level and high level. Then counterflow jet condenser is again classified into two categories. Number one, that is low level counterflow jet condenser, and high level counterflow jet condenser. Then surface condenser is again classified as downflow type. Downflow type means flow of steam is in downward direction. Then center flow type. So flow of steam is at the center of this vessel or condenser cell. Then inverted flow type. So inverted flow type, it is inversion. Regenerative is nothing but the heat recovery, and evaporative type, in which the water gets evaporated by absorbing heat from the surface of cooling coil. So here this is first type A, this is B, C, D and E. We will see one by one. Now, what is jet condenser? The exhaust steam and water come in direct contact with each other, and temperature of condensate is same as that of cooling water leaving the condenser. So here from one side steam enters, from other side cooling water enters into this condenser, and both get mixed, and this steam gets condensed, and from here the condensate is collected. So the condensate is nothing but sum of steam and cooling water. These two are mixed. So the temperature of condensate is same as that of cooling water. So temperature of cooling water is acquired by the steam. So both are coming out. It may be a little bit higher than the inlet temperature, but the temperature of cooling water and steam while coming out will be same. Then surface condenser. So what is surface condenser? The exhaust steam and water do not come in direct contact. Say for example, this is the condenser cell. So it has got number of tubes, n number of tubes through which the cooling water is circulated, and around these tubes so steam is circulated. So here there is no direct mixing of steam with cooling water. So here the condensate is collected at the bottom, and that is extracted by using a condensate pump or extraction pump. Now we will see different type of condensers. So this is first condenser, low level jet condenser, parallel type. So parallel flow type. So here how this works, that we see. Say here this is the condenser cell. So in this condenser cell, exhaust steam from turbine or steam engine is passed into condenser. So when this steam enters into this condenser, the cold water is sprayed with the help of a spray mechanism. So this water and steam gets mixed, and the steam gets condensed, and it is collected at the bottom. So this is the condensate which is collected. So here the steam which enters into this condenser is having some sort of air present in the steam. So from where that air comes into the steam, that we will see afterwards. So as the steam gets condensed, the condensate gets collected at the bottom, and the air present which is in the steam is extracted by using a air pump. Here there is a baffle plate. So here this air is taken out from this air pump. So why air has to be removed? What happens if air is present? That we will discuss in the forthcoming slides. So this condensate which is collected has to be extracted by using a pump. So as this is a low level, so this condensate or water, so condensate in the sense it is a water, so this water does not come out from this what you say condenser. So this is the condenser. Pressure is P is less than atmospheric pressure. As inner pressure is lower, so this condensate does not come out automatically, so we need to pull it. So a extraction pump is used to suck this condensate, and that condensate is brought into the hot well. Hot well is nothing but a sump where the condensate is collected, and this condensate is again recirculated to the boiler, or if the extra condensate is there, that overflows to the cooling pond. Again this cooling pond, water from cooling pond is recirculated into this condenser. So in this way the steam is condensed. So here question is why the condensate extraction pump is required. As I told you, when steam enters into this condenser, it occupies very small space and large space remains vacant, and that is nothing but vacuum is created. Vacuum means pressure is below atmospheric pressure. Because of low pressure, always the flow of fluid takes place from high pressure to the low pressure. So it is necessary for us to remove this condensate from this condenser. So in order to remove this condensate from condenser, we need to apply some pulling force or sucking force, which will extract this condensate from this condenser. Therefore it does not come automatically, as this height is very low. Because of low height, this does not come with its self weight, or rho gh is not sufficient to overcome the atmospheric pressure. Therefore here extraction pump is required. If we do not provide extraction pump, the atmospheric air will rush into this condenser by reducing the vacuum. So vacuum reduction affects on the extent of or possibilities of expansion of steam into the turbine. Now next we will see low level jet condenser counter flow type. In first case it was parallel flow. Parallel flow means steam is coming from top, water is also coming from top. Both are moving in the same direction. But in second case, if we see, this is counter flow. So here steam enters from the bottom and it moves in the upward direction. Steam enters from bottom and moves in the upward direction, whereas this cooling water is spread from top. So these two together mix and this condensate is collected at the bottom of this condenser. So this is the condenser cell. So in this condenser cell, what steam enters into this condenser cell from bottom and moves in the upward direction, whereas cooling water comes from top and both move in opposite direction. Steam moves from bottom to top and water moves from top to bottom, and condensate is collected at the bottom. Again here the level of this tube is very low, therefore this level is low, therefore we need to suck this condensate as vacuum is created. So condensate pump is required to suck this water, and that is collected into the hot well and excess flow takes place to the cooling pond. So only difference between previous and this is the direction flow of fluids. Steam moves in the upward direction, water moves in the downward direction. Rest of the things are similar to the previous. So here both are moving in the downward direction, here one is moving in the upward direction. So that is the difference between low level jet condenser, counter flow and parallel flow. Now coming to this high level jet condenser counter flow type. So again we can see here the steam enters here and moves in the upward direction, and this cooling water comes from top and moves in the downward direction. Therefore this is counter flow. Steam moves in the upward direction, water moves in the downward direction. So this water which is collected comes down because of its self weight. So this tailpipe height is approximately 10.363 meters of water. So this height is 10.363 meters. So this is rho gh of water is equal to rho gh of mercury or atmospheric pressure. So this becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Therefore this water automatically comes into this hot well, and excess water which is collected into this hot well will fall into this cooling pond. Again it is recirculated with the help of a injection pump. So in this injection pump is allowed or supplies this cooling water. So why injection pump is required? So it has to be sprayed into this condenser. Now this dry air pump is fixed here, and the air is collected from top. So the air is removed. So from where air comes, that we are going to discuss in the forthcoming slide. So here also there is an air pump. So always there is an air pump and condensate pump. So there are two pumps which are associated with the condenser. One is condensate pump, another is air pump. So condensate pump is at the bottom and air pump is at the top. Sometimes it is somewhere here. So air is extracted. Now here also air is removed using a pump. Now ejector condenser. Ejector condenser in the sense the injection water enters here. So as this water passes through this nozzle, so velocity of water increases. Due to increase in the velocity, so inlet pressure is more, and at this section pressure gets reduced, and because of reduction in pressure here suction is created, and due to the suction the steam from engine or turbine enters into this ejector condenser, and this steam gets mixed with the water and the condensate is discharged to the hot well. So here there is a non-return wall. Non-return wall means the steam enters in one direction and it is not possible for that steam to come in the reverse direction. So here non-return wall is supplied. As soon as here vacuum is created, so steam enters into this condenser and gets mixed with the water. So here there are truncated cones or just like a nozzle. So nozzles or truncated cones are created just to create low pressure region. Here low pressure region is created, because of which automatically the flow of steam takes place and steam moves into this condenser and gets mixed with the water. As soon as it gets mixed with the condenser, automatically again pressure falls or vacuum is created into this condenser. So now moving to the surface condenser. So these condensers which we have discussed up to now were jet condensers. Now this is a surface condenser. Surface condenser is nothing but one where the fluids are not mixed with each other. Now you can see here the cooling water enters from here into this cell and passes through the multiple tubes. So what cooling water is passed into this tube. So n number of tubes are provided. As this water passes through the tube and is collected at the back end, again it is passed, automatically it moves into these tubes and comes out from here. So when this cooling water is passed into this condenser, so steam, exhaust steam is passed from top, and this steam circulates or occupies the space around these tubes. It is not going to enter into the tubes, but it is surrounding the tube, and as the steam comes in contact with the tube, it transfers its heat to the water and gets condensed, and that condensate is collected at the bottom in the form of water, and that is connected to the extraction pump. By using the extraction pump, this steam is collected. Somewhere there is one more provision to extract the air. So here there is a baffle plate, or somewhere there will be air extraction pump to remove the air present in this condenser or to maintain the vacuum. Now first type of surface condenser is downflow type surface condenser. Downflow type means steam is moving in the downward direction. So steam enters into this condenser, and here there are n number of tubes. So these are the tubes. So these circles which you are going to see are the tubes through which water is passed, and steam surrounds these tubes. As soon as the steam comes in contact with the tubes, heat is transferred from steam to the water present in the tube, and steam gets condensed, and that condensate is collected from bottom. So this condensate is removed using a condensate pump, and the air is separated, and that air is taken using a air dry pump or air pump. So air is also removed in order to maintain the vacuum in the condenser. As water enters into this condenser, steam enters into the condenser, steam and some part of air. Steam is 99%, and say for example 1% is the air. So this steam gets condensed, automatically vacuum is created. Because of vacuum, the condensate has to be removed forcibly, or it has to be sucked using a pump, as well as the air gets separated from condensate or water, and that is to be removed by using a dry pump. So here the steam does not mix with the cooling water, therefore we call it as a surface condenser, and as the steam moves in the downward direction, therefore we call it as a down flow type of surface condenser. Now coming to central flow type of condenser. So here steam moves in the downward direction, but the collection of air is at the center. So here at the center, from the center, air is taken out and condensate is again collected at the bottom. So steam moves from top to the bottom, but the collection of air is at the center. Therefore, it is called as a central flow type surface condenser. So working principle is same. When steam comes into this condenser, it surrounds to these tubes and cold water is passed through these tubes. So heat from steam is transferred to the cooling water and the steam gets condensed and is collected at the bottom of condenser, and that condensate is extracted using a extraction pump whereas air which is collected through a passage made at the center, so all air the air present in the steam is passed through this central passage, therefore it is called as a central flow type of surface condenser. Now steam condenser. In this steam condenser, we have inverted flow type of steam condenser. In this case, steam enters at the bottom first, moves up and then down. It enters from bottom, moves up, again comes down. So this is known as inverted type of steam flow condenser, surface condenser. So condensate extraction pump is at bottom. Always a condensate extraction pump in every condenser is placed at the bottom because of gravity. The water is collected at the bottom of condenser, therefore condensate pump is connected at the bottom. Then regenerative type of steam condenser. So what is regenerative? Regenerative is nothing but recovery of heat. So here in this regenerative raises the temperature of condensate for use as a feed water for boiler. Again the condensate which is collected is reheated using waste heat, and that type of steam condenser is known as a regenerative type of steam condenser. Now evaporative steam condenser. What is evaporative steam condenser? So now steam is passed through the coil. So through these coils, steam is passed through the coil and water is sprayed around these coils. So what happens, as see here, this is the tube through which steam is passed, and surrounding this tube water is sprayed. So water comes in contact with the tube and heat from steam is transferred to this layer of water. So this layer of water which is present around this tube, see here, so here there is a layer of water around this tube and inside this tube there is a steam, so heat transfer takes place. So this layer absorbs latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat it absorbs, and this layer of water gets evaporated by absorbing heat from steam, and this steam which is inside this tube gets condensed. So steam when enters into the tube, by transferring its heat to this water, and water gets evaporated, some part of water on the surface of tube gets evaporated and steam gets condensed. Therefore it is known as a evaporative steam condenser. How this steam condenser works? So steam, exhaust steam is passed into the coil and the water is sprayed on this coil. So when water is sprayed on this coil, the steam which is passing through this tube gets condensed and that condensate is collected here. So now here the fans are provided at the top in order to circulate air. So in order to have the proper evaporation of water over the surface of tube, circulation of air is must. So air has to be circulated. So these fans are going to suck the air from top. So air enters from bottom and it passes over the coil and it evaporates water. So this water, evaporated water, mixes with the air and passes into the atmosphere. So if it contains some water particles, those have to be removed. So eliminators are provided. So eliminators remove the water particles present in the air moving in the upward direction, and the collected water is again passed into the sump at the bottom. So the lowers are provided in order to circulate air flow rate. So if we want more air, then this passage can be increased. So these are hinged at this point, so can be rotated and opening of this can be increased. So this is what the evaporative steam condenser. Now we'll see the comparison between jet condenser and surface condenser. So cooling water and steam are mixed in case of jet condenser. Both are mixed with each other. But in case of surface condenser, cooling water and steam are not mixed with each other. Low manufacturing cost. So cost of jet condenser is low, whereas surface condenser cost is high. Maintenance cost of jet condenser is low, whereas maintenance cost of surface condenser is high. Requires low small floor space or small floor space, whereas surface condenser requires large floor space. Condensate cannot be reused. So the condensate in case of jet condenser cannot be reused directly. It has to be treated because it is going to mix with the cooling water. Whereas in surface condenser, condensate and cooling water are not mixed. Directly condensate can be used as a feed water. This is advantage. More power is required in case of a jet condenser, whereas less power is required in case of a surface condenser. So less power is required for air pump. In jet condenser, less power is required for air pump, but in case of surface condenser, to run air pump, more power is required. Needs less quantity of cooling water. So as directly the steam and water are going to mix, so low quantity or smaller quantity of water is required to condense the steam. But here in surface condenser, as there is a barrier, steam and cooling water are not going to mix with each other, so more quantity of water is required to condense the steam. Condensing plant is simple, so this condenser is simple. Jet condenser is simple, whereas surface condenser design and manufacturing is complicated. Suitable for small capacity plant. So jet condenser can be used for small capacity plant, whereas surface condenser is essential for high capacity plant because it requires large quantity of water to generate in a boiler to generate steam. So in case of surface condenser, we can recirculate condensate. Therefore, for large capacity plant, surface condenser is suitable. Low vacuum efficiency. Vacuum efficiency of jet condenser is low, whereas vacuum efficiency of surface condenser is high because this has the barrier. So steam and water are not mixed, and this is sealed. So there is a low or small leakage of air in the condenser. Therefore, there is high vacuum efficiency. Higher is the vacuum efficiency, larger will be the expansion of steam, and higher will be the efficiency, overall efficiency of the plant. Thank you.